Testing, testing. Okay. So today I'm going to change a couple of things. So I decided to revert back to the original idea for this region. So I strayed a bit too far into Nintendo territory and wanted to make this region, at least the upper half of it, more of a jungle, but that doesn't fit really. So I'm back to a more Mediterranean look, and it looks like this now. So the purple grass is gone, which makes it look a bit more boring, but also more cohesive with the other region. And it, especially with the mood of the game, which is pretty, yeah, mostly carried by the music. Relatively dark, so yeah, I thought it just didn't fit right. So what I did is I just changed colors, and the ground is now more of a sand color or dry dirt. But here in this upper part of the coastal region, it still has a lot of green in it. So if you look at the boundary here, it's still visible, but it's less jarring. And yeah, I think that's better. So of course, snails on sand don't match very well normally. So I'll turn these snails into crabs, which I planned anyway. I plan to have crabs, so I'll do that. And then I'm not quite satisfied with the hornets, because yeah, right now they act on their own, but hornets are, of course, hive animals, so that should be reflected in the game. So I'll probably remove the hornets for now, until next week, until I figured out how to bring that out. And I need to put back in the stone slabs on the floor for all the temples. And after that, I'll work on a new dungeon. So I made 5 dungeons in total for this region. They're quite large, but they are all pretty. They're not intricate enough. So I'll make one dungeon that has that is based on chambers, so that yeah, it's just a bit more intricate. So that's the plan. And maybe let's start with the stone slabs. I'll start at the top left, and I did this once before I removed them all. I the new sand floor. And that's just to tell the player, okay, here there's a temple nearby. Bit of foreshadowing. And of course, it breaks up the usual floor tiles, so it looks a bit better as well. Okay, let's do this in a what's the word? In an ordered manner. So let's go left. This one over here. And maybe here. I think that's almost good enough for the small one. Maybe, well, yeah, let's make this stone as well. Okay, here's more. Okay. And I don't want to cover the whole floor, of course, to make it look older. Okay, let's move right again. And we're back here. Hope you can see it, at least kind of. And yeah, I want these slabs to show. Even if there's bushes. On top of it. Yeah, okay. Down here. And then let's maybe make this stone as well. Okay. You can see that that's much better. Let's move west. There's one here, and I kind of only want to add these stone slabs where there's an entrance, which, I mean, it's not ideal that the entrance and the stone is the same color, so I might have to change this. But I did add I made them all glow in the dark. Well, not glow, but I made them all emit a light, so they're easier to find now. But still, yeah, still quite hard to see. Amidst all these stone tiles. I'll have to think about something. I quite like this. Back here, yeah. And maybe here. Okay. Well, it gets... So having 3 types of tiles gets quite noisy. I mean, it looks much better, but it's also much harder to play, so I'll have to be careful with that. But yeah, I also don't want I don't want it to be too boring. So that's maybe the main concern. Okay. Let's move to the... Okay, there are ruins here. They should, of course... also have those stone slabs. Maybe a bit more broken up. Something like that. Yeah. Okay, more ruins. Okay. Yeah, and here I have... Yeah, that's also 3 different floor tiles. I'm not quite happy with this plateau. I'll probably have to change it. Okay. Okay, more ruins. And yeah, that may actually be enough. So let's move back. Yeah, it looks quite good. There's more here. I think that's enough. And I think that's it. I know it's hard to see for you, but let me just check that I have everything. I missed that one. And that should probably be everything. Yeah, okay. Good. So, let's remove the hornets for now. But with what do I replace them? Probably with jackals. Or snakes. Let's do half-half. Or nets. Wait, am I? Yeah, okay. Jackal. Okay, that, well, kind of makes sense. Okay. Now for the crabs. So I need a character. Generally, I'm. 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 I'll have to rethink how I use the characters a bit at least. But yeah, let's what does a crab look like? Which letter? Looking at my keyboard. Well, it may also be Q. Because it has a bulky body and then one arm sticking out. Maybe the larger one could be a crab. But that's not really what the Q looks like in the game. So yeah, I should look at the letters in the game. Also, isn't the crab and the snail an animal? So I should use lowercase letters. So what's a lowercase letter that looks like a crab? Or I could just use the lower C. Yeah. Let's do that. Snail. Color can stay the same. Let's see where that breaks in sound. And yeah, I mean the hissing sound of these spiders fits kind of, because what sound does a crab make? So it behaves the same, but this time it's not slime, it's bubbles. So I should give it a different particle animation. And yeah, I think that's what I'll do. So it'll have, the bubbles will have no sprite, only the particles. If that works. Okay. Slime. Bubbles. Actually, that's foam. And it should have a particle effect that's not strictly on the floor. So imagine a giant crab that leaves behind these huge mountains of foam that when you walk through, you'll take damage of some sort. Slime. But gameplay wise, it's the same. Just looks different. Where's the emitter? Here. Fume. Okay, let's change that. Change that to so that's the particle effect name. So these are the particles I have. I have leaves, I have licks, that's licks of fire. I have fog, glimmer, that's for water. I have disease for sleeping enemies. And I have no idea what that is. Strike. Striping. Oh, that's the bugs that fly away. The glowworms, basically. So what I really would want is just the lick particle, but slower. But slower. That's it. Not as much velocity. But there's no parameter here. So if I just create a different particle and I call it, well, maybe steam, because that also rises but not as fast, maybe. Or just smoke. What is shimmer? Dust, okay. Can I just use shimmer? Let's try it out. Actually, let's rebuild. And let's do this in the test room. There's the foam. And I mean, the effect is pretty cool, but it's also a bit much. A bit too much. Yeah, let's make a new particle. And well, fume is a bad name now, because if I want to call the particle bubbles, then what is the emitter called? This naming scheme is stupid, but it kind of makes sense. Okay, the particle is not called, the emitter is called bubble. Particle is called glitter or something. So let's put it down here. And this is how often the emitter emits a particle. Bam, 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 bam. Like glimmer, but static, but non-moving. So I'm not sure if this will work. So I may just revert this to what I had, because it has to be, if I remove the sprite, which I can actually do. Like this. Then the particles are what tells you that there's danger there. So they need to work. Put particle. Okay, let's copy the water stuff. Just completely. Update particle. Hello. Emit. Update particles. Okay. Case. Glitter. Let's make this let's make this different. So what this does, it reduces the lifetime of the particle. Then it sets its alpha. And then it scales the velocity. So that's actually, yeah, that's exactly what I want. And then in the initialization here, I want this to live less long, just 1 second. And then this is an offset from the center of the sprite. It moves it up. And then here is the randomized velocity. And let's reduce that. Actually, let's remove that completely. Yeah, velocity is initialized as 0, so just don't set it. See if that works. Particles are always a bit finicky, so but yeah, that's basically what I wanted. But it's also extremely hard to see. Let's bring back the ground sprite. And that was something. 301. Okay. Wonder why it's so flickery. Oh, that's just the fighting. Okay. Let's make it, let's give it more space in the, oh, that's the alpha. That's stupid. Where's the position? This is the update function as well. I want this. Oh yeah, they're all on the same plane. That's why there's sea fighting. So 0.2 to 1.2, something like that. Well, I think well, I'm not sure if that's better than the old one. Where are some snails here? Well, I mean, this, yeah, I think it's better. Maybe I should change the color. Let's try that. Let's give it a teal +1. See what happens. Okay, that's NPC, not a snail. Okay, that's not happening. What are some good colors? I think that's what I had. And I could make it darker. Let's try, what's this? That is the sea color. Well, that's not bad. Let's make the crabs blue actually. Yeah. Okay, at night that's pretty hard to see. So why not also blue? There are some crabs. Well, try blue +1. I should remember where the crabs are. Yeah. Okay, that's pretty cool. It looks like ice for some reason. Well, not for some reason, but it's obvious. But not sure if that's the vibe I want. But the base color of the crab plus a 1, which means the next lighter shade, that could work. But this, yeah, this looks like ice. So you would have to freeze if you walk on that, which would be pretty cool. But yeah, let's reserve that for a region that's not as hot as this one. So let's try magenta +1, and for the crab magenta again, which is not ideal. I could make the crab red, but that gets into the blood color. Let's try magenta first. And that looks pretty cool actually. I like the contrast between orange and magenta. That's pretty cool. But I don't like the Q character. So let's give the crab... Wait, didn't I say lower C? Not sure what I said. Let's give it a lower C. That's 4, 6. Just 1 over. And then let's look at the... Oh yeah, that's so much better. And then let's look at the tile for the foam, for the foam itself. And that was... Oh, come on. Foam. 301. 3 001 here. What could I change this into? I mean, I could just this apart, maybe. That doesn't. That's wrong. Kind of better. Yeah, that's definitely better. But yeah, this looks also pretty good. Let's try this. No. I mean, it should kind of tile without being too obviously symmetric. So that may be better. Well, that's worse. Maybe this. Well, that's super obviously symmetric. Yeah, it looks like they're drawing Illuminati signs. So yeah, it also shouldn't look like a ground tile. Maybe it should look like the traps. That would make sense. Would also kind of fit. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. So let's save that. Let's try another color. Let's try teal again. That was the ice thing. So yeah, that's not working. But aren't crabs gray? Try gray. And let's give foam a more toxic looking color. Okay, that's yellow. That's not it's not that good. Thank you, Cobalt. Okay, here's a lot of crabs. Hey Prosto, how's it going? So yeah, yellow is not applying, but what's the other color? So this is grass, this is sea green. This is, what's this? $40. Let's just give it 41. 41. So you gave me a Steam recommendation queue, by the way. Thanks. Yeah, that's awesome. That thanks for stopping by. I mean, awesome that Steam recommends the game. That's pretty cool. Okay, where are the crabs? Here they are. Okay, this is pretty cool. I like this. Yeah. That's the best one yet. I'll just sit here and make company. That's nice. Thanks. Appreciate that. What are you working on? I'm working on crabs. So I added these crabs to the game that leave a trail of damaging foam behind. And I'm tweaking the colors right now. But I'm actually pretty happy with this. Yeah, and after that I'll at least start another dungeon. Thanks. Yeah, I'll have to playtest later tonight and tweak them a bit to see if they integrate well into the game. But yeah, they make things a bit more interesting. I want to make mobs like an earth elemental, but low level. You mean in this game or in your game? If you're making a game. Can I borrow your crab idea? Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's actually, don't think that's my idea. Pretty sure I stole it from somewhere as well, but yeah, they've been on my mind for quite a while, so. A mob that looks like a crab or mite, but from a rock and leaves spikes behind when it moves. That's a funny idea. Yeah, actually, I mean, you could find a monster type that leaves behind objects that you have to destroy to pass through, that basically block your way. That could also be cool, but that makes it quite unrealistic. I mean, these crabs are still in the realm in the realm of possibility, kind of, at least. Yeah. And I also have to rename all the regions, because I changed what they look like. More like caltrops, but it's a poop of a rock creature. That sounds funny, yeah. That sounds interesting as well. Okay. Let's look at wait, did I? Yeah, let's look at another dungeon. So I have this right here, and let me look. I have I think that's the next one. This one. Or this one. Wait, that's out of bounds. This one is also out of bounds. So probably this one. So yeah, that's the end. Wait. Oh God. Wait, did I save that? Oh God, I'm stupid. I still have the processing on. And I might have just overwritten all the stone tiles that I placed. Yep. So I'll have to do that again. It's stupid. Well, that's half an hour. That's not that bad. Okay. So let's look at an exit. Yes. Stuff like that happens. Where can I exit this dungeon? Maybe here? It's not that easy. So I'll have to punch a hole out of this dungeon. But there's not really space here. Oh, well, actually this one, but it's the wrong side up. So it would have to exit this way. And on this side, it would have to exit to the west. I could put a dungeon here and flatten this terrain a bit. Yeah, I think that's the only option. So let's do that. And then I need to have walkable space. Something like that. And I'll have to repair this. Entrance would be here. Yep. And then it would come out here. That kind of works. Well, I'll have to do these all again, so let's keep that as it is. Okay, so let's create a simple dungeon because the others are quite fancy. Well, fancy is the wrong word, but let's first repair geometry. Something like this. And over here, well, let's make it a green dungeon. Do I place the exit? Yeah, should be here. Then let's flood this, and this. And let's just plop some rooms down and see how it goes. And then more symmetric over here. I think that's okay. Let's introduce a elevation change. Like this, maybe. Doesn't look too cool. Let's expand this. And break this down. And then I'll need a marker. Yeah, and here. And then I can close this off, open it up here, and then yeah, 2 pathways are fine. Yeah. Okay, let's add water where there's an opening. Like this, and repair the colors here. So I need a boundary here, boundary there. Is it water? I get it. Okay, yeah, these white markers are just particle spawners, so they don't actually show up in the game. If I jump into the game, you can see they just spawn the particles. Okay, I don't like this, so let's open that up. So now let's, well, what enemy type do I put in here? Maybe robbers. But also maybe only crabs. But for crabs I would have to have more water. I could also put in spiders. Yeah, let's give spiders their moment. Let's plop one down. Yeah, it's not important where I place them because they wander around and they may be removed depending on how strong you are. So not that important, but I think I'm actually not sure. And yeah, I completely lost that thought. No, I have it again. I think I need to change the floor. Floor tiles for this. Great. Okay. Yeah, so let's add some spider flare. Not that far. Okay. Then let's add the chest, or maybe 2 chests even. Let's yeah, let's plop one down here, and then let's put in rocks. And boulders. Okay, and then some urns, not too many. Like this. And roots. And then this is, yeah, pretty busy. Okay. So this boundary works, this boundary works, and this one as well. Obstructed marker. Actually, let me put this here. Double exit. That's not good. So let's make this permanent. Ugh. Path testing. Okay, what did it say? No exit from... Oh. Yeah, that needs boundary, as well as this. Let's remove this bush so I can see it. What is it talking about? Okay. Test, okay. All right. So yeah, that's a small little dungeon. Let's walk through it. We can survive that. Uh-oh. Yeah, I mean, this dungeon is nothing special, but it really helps the variety of the game. Because you need the mundane dungeons to offset the better ones. Yeah. Okay. So this dungeon is called Area 73. So I'll need to give it a better name. And yeah, I'll need to redo the stone things because I overwrote them. But that's okay. That takes 20 minutes. And then what else do I need to do? So tomorrow is release day for the update for this region, for this sub-region. I'm pretty much done with it. But I need to look into a couple of sounds. Maybe change how the ambience sounds. I'll look into that. Yeah. But yeah, that's it from me for today. I have an obligation, so I'll have to get going. But I won't be streaming tomorrow because I'll be busy with the update. But I'll be back on Saturday. And yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for all the support. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I will see you on Saturday. All right, bye guys.